Hey, Woody. Hey, you doing great? How are you? What do you do? Full closure for 7th Street. Hey, are you guys doing some work in downtown right now around 30th Street? The resurfacing. Closed this morning. We're doing the resurfacing right now. Oh, we're reassessing. Yeah. It's part of our project. You think a nice street? I'm gonna say I have that. Okay. Yeah. We get some nice street now. So, not for this current one in construction. Okay, yeah. But we're not doing so we're doing no, it's a combination. We got some private development plans, major avenue, house office, just spoken like on this project. We don't have one, so that's yeah. And then some consultants. We are. Do you remember the newest one? But we is and that's more like a social. But that would be
Good morning, everyone. If you're joining us in person today and are here to leave a public comment cards are in the back of the room. If you would like to fill one out, please bring it up to the front desk. I'm Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works. Again, if you're in person to provide public comment, please complete your public comment card in the back and bring it up. And I'm going to go through the list of callers if we have any public comment on the Zoom call. So caller ending in 264, caller ending 818, last 3264, please unmute yourself and let us know if you have public comment and which item you would like to speak on, or general public comment.
Just general public comment.
Great, and can I get your name?
James.
James, thank you.
Okay.
We have a caller 325903. Please unmute yourself if you have public comment or if you're here to represent an item. (325) Are you here to represent an item or give public comment? Okay.
Hi, this is Jaime from the Bureau of Street Lighting. I'm
Hi.
supposed to be a representative. I think I ended up getting like the general link for the Zoom meeting.
All good. I'll promote you to panelist since you're
Okay.
with. Thanks, Jaime.
Okay, no problem.
Hi, how are you?
good. How are you?
Good.
We're here to present for item 12. George and Kayla.
Perfect. George and Keila? Great, got you. Good morning, all. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works. If there's anyone in the room to make general public comment, please, or public comment on an item, please fill out a speaker card and bring it up to me. If there's anyone on the Zoom who's looking to make general public comment or speak on an item, please raise your hand so we can take down your information and have your name before we get to those items. Thank you. Hi, Mark. Are you here to speak on an item?
Yeah, can you hear me by chance?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Yes, I'm here to speak on item 16. I believe my manager, Linda, is going to be in person. So either her in person or myself will speak on 16.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, James. We'll get to you in 1 second once we get the meeting started. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we are ready. Let me put this into record mode. 1 second. Okay, we're now in record mode.
Thank you for that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Ms. Zatorsky?
Good morning, Madam President. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works, taking role in establishing quorum. We have President Garcia, Vice President Vargas, President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Corsand, and Commissioner Reyes all present, and we have a quorum. We're joined by City Attorney Ms. Virginia Choi, and again, Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works. We have 1 general public comment and 1 public comment under item 14 in person, and 7 comments on item 14 via Zoom and or the public comment forum.
Ms. Zatorsky, can you repeat the last part again?
One public comment on item 14 in person, and 7 public comments on the same item 14 that were submitted via the Google form. And no neighborhood council commentary.
Got it. Thank you for that. Given that we do have 1 general public comment, let's take public comment now.
Great. James on the Zoom, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself right now. And once you unmute and are ready, you'll have 2 minutes. You can begin.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, we continue with the problem with the pop-up restaurants. This happens day and night, and we get the same response from Bureau of Street Services, just to giving out notices without enforcing the ADA laws. They say that they only require 36 inches for the public. It's actually 72 inches because you have to have access for 3 inches for the handicapped person and 3 inches for the flow of pedestrians walking. So I don't know why they do that. The other thing is we talk about the environment, but yet we have gas stoves on the sidewalk. This is being allowed by the SS. Gas stoves, like having a small car on the sidewalk. Okay. We're also producing a lot of trash. We don't know what they do with that trash, how they process that trash. The other thing is you have 5611, which requires that if it's not a card with a permit on it, and this is all in the 4213, It's subject to compensation if it's not a cart and it does not have a permit on it. And the other thing is, one of the investigators came out and he basically said that there was too many vendors and he couldn't do anything. Well, he's not doing anything now, so I don't understand that. And the other thing is who's carrying the liability for if something happens? If somebody trips, if somebody falls, we got people with walkers, pedestrians that are frail.
Thank
What
you,
happens
sir.
when they
That's 2
fall?
minutes.
Who
Thank
picks
you.
that up?
We do have one more hand raised that I just want to check if it's a
Okay.
public comment. Hi, is the caller's OK Njoku, who I believe is, if you could unmute yourself and let us know which item you're here for.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, all. And my name is Greg Njoku. I am the spouse to late OK Njoku. I just wanted to thank you all for organizing this meeting in honor of my late husband, OK Njoku. I was invited, so I just want to use this opportunity to thank you all, and I know he will be pleased to learn and understand that this was organized in his honor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for calling in. And we're going to do a remembrance at the end of the meeting. So if you want to stay on, and there will be a few words. Thank you so
Okay.
much. And then, Mr. Myers, are you here to speak on one of the items or present on one of the items?
No, I am the LA San rep for today.
Great. I'll promote you to panelist, and then we'll get forward with the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of general public comment.
Thank you so much. General public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of Friday, March 15, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Dr. Davis and VP Villegas. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis and Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Friday, March 15, 2024.
Great. We'll take the roll call beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
VP Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Yes.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes, and the motion is adopted forthwith.
Very well. Thank you for that. Just minor notes here. Item number 20 has been withdrawn for today's agenda. Do we have a representative from the Bureau of Street Services on item 21? Status update on major upcoming street improvement projects?
They have no updates today.
Yeah, I didn't think
Oh.
so either. Okay, we're gonna withdraw for
Okay.
today. Okay. So items 20 and 21 are withdrawn from today's agenda. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, thank you for that. And let me take item number 19, which is an administrative item. This is a board specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council Districts 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 15. Highway Safety Improvement Program 8 left turn signal modification in Median Island, 13 location. Work order E1908343 for an estimate amount of $4,712,911. Bid receipt date will be Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to adopt this item?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes and VP Villegas. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by me and a second by Commissioner Reyes and Vice President Villegas to approve item number 19.
Great. We will tabulate the vote, beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
VP Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you for that. Well, welcome everybody. Good morning to a very lovely Wednesday. This is now we are in the beginning of April. Has time flown by this year already? So I just want to welcome everybody that's here in person and those that are joining us via the social platform. It is a pleasure to be here. We have a pretty robust agenda today, so we are going to get right into it. We'll go in chronological order from now. Anything I should know from now? We're pretty good. Okay, let's get going. All right. First, we have item number, we're going to go 1 through 9 with Sohura Shihab. But I believe you wanted me to cut at item 6 and then restart it again?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me read just 1 through 6 and through his agenda, and then we'll go with you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Item number 1 in Council District 10, Assessment Hearing 1, Adams Boulevard and Bronson Avenue number 2. Item 2, CD7, Mount Gleason Avenue and Hill Rose Street. Item 3, CD6, Arminta Street and Beck Avenue. Item 4, Council District 1, Broadway and College Street. Item 5, Council District 12, San Jose Street and Jordan Avenue. And item number 6, Council District 4, Matilija Avenue and Riverside Drive. Mr. Shihab?
Yes. Now, so item 1 through 6 pertain to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with the private development project. The reason why I cut off 7 was it was a lighting districts which we are creating with Safe Routes to School. So I just wanted to separate them because line items 8 and 9 also pertain to lighting districts which we are creating with private development project. So I just wanted to say 1 through 6 pertain to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with the private development project. Line items 8 and 9 pertain to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with the private development project. And line item number 7 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with Safe Routes to School infrastructure type project.
Okay, so let me read.
That's how I wanted.
So you added 7, 8, and 9 now, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so let me read those just for the record, and then you can finalize your report then.
Yeah.
Item 7, Council District 13, Alexandria Safety Improvements number 1. Item 8, Sotel Boulevard and Braddock Drive in Council District 11. Item number 9 is Penmar Avenue and Palms Boulevard in Council District 11.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then, so ballots for items 1 through 9 were mailed February 14 of 2024. Ballots for items 1 through 9 must be received by City Clerk's office by April 9 of 2024. And we are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 1 through 9 forthwith to City Council.
When are ballots in? You said September 24?
The ballots were in February of 14, 2024.
When are they due back?
Next week, April 9.
Oh, April 9th.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
By City Clerk's.
No problems. Any questions, colleagues? Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move items 1 through 9 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move items 1 through 9 forward and forthwith.
Okay, great. We'll tabulate the vote. President Garcia?
Aye.
VP Villegas?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand?
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day. Moving on to item number 10, this is in Council Districts 1 and 14 by request of Bureau of Engineering. This is a revised task order solicitation number 64, Stantec Consulting Services, Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network Project. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task order number 64 to Stantec Consulting Services, increasing the budget authority from $1,885,750 to $2,130,000, including contingency for pre-design, design, bid, and award support and design services during construction for the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network Project. And this morning we have Mr. Powell here. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Powell, Senior Civil Engineer with the Bureau of Engineering's Clean Water Division. Engineering is here today to request authorization to revise task order solicitation number 64 to Stantec Consulting Services to increase the budget authority from $1,885,750 to $2,130,000, including contingency. And this was for pre-design, design, bid and award support, and design services during construction. Just to provide you with a bit of background, task order solicitation number 64 for the project was awarded to Stantec back on February 15th of 2023. This was from the on-call wastewater environmental engineering list. This is a Measure W Safe Clean Water Regional Round 2 project in the Upper LA River watershed and is located in Council Districts 1 and 14. The project proposes approximately 3 miles of new Green Street improvements, including 46 dry wells, 500 street trees, 16 vegetated centered medians, and 1,100 parkway planters. In addition to the Green Street improvements, this project proposes to improve Lincoln Park Lake by dredging accumulated sediment and repairing or replacing the existing lake edge, the aeration system, recirculation system, fountains, pump house, control systems, and other miscellaneous mechanical and electrical components. New improvements include lake bioswales, a California native garden, and educational signage. In total, the goal of the project is to improve water quality in the lake, capturing approximately 77 acre-feet of runoff annually from a watershed area of 195 acres in the Upper LA River watershed, and improve the park and surrounding neighborhood with greening elements. The reason for the request for the increased contingency is that early on during the pre-design phase, engineering along with Stantec conducted geotechnical borings and infiltration testing to test the infiltration rates of the existing soil. The geotechnical borings and the infiltration testing revealed poor soil conditions for infiltration. This means the dry wells as proposed at the proposed locations in the feasibility study are no longer feasible. Therefore, to try and locate soils more suitable for infiltration, engineering hired a hydrogeologist with Stantec to perform a desktop study and to provide recommended locations for further evaluation in an attempt to try to move or relocate the dry wells. We conducted the desktop study with the hydrogeologist, and engineering now needs to conduct additional geotechnical investigations, including infiltration testing, to now confirm the actual conditions, soil conditions, and measure actual infiltration rates so the proposed dry wells can be designed and sized properly. The additional geotechnical work has been negotiated with Stantec and will cost approximately $153,000, which exceeds the current contingency. Therefore, engineering is requesting authority to revise the task order solicitation to increase the budget by $244,250 from the base amount, which was $1,885,000 to $2,130,000. That concludes my report, and I'm ready to take any questions.
Thank you for your report, Mr. Paul. Vice President Villegas, any questions? Anyone else? I thought I had seen you push your light. Any questions for Mr. Paul? No questions here. I don't have any questions. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's an increase because you found through the boring process, there was an element that was not there before, and now there is, pretty much.
Correct. We always test the soil to measure the infiltration rates. Those infiltration rates came back relatively low or too low for dry wells. So we don't, we want to keep the dry wells, and try to look for different locations. So we're going to conduct additional geotechnical investigations based on the recommendations that we received for locations that seem to have suitable soils.
Makes sense. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Just a quick question. So where these, the location of them, will that be the last increase on just this piece?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I was wondering if this was going to be, if the location of these dry wells, is that going to be the final location, or is there going to be any other movement to find the most pervious spots?
So if the geotechnical investigations discover soil suitable for infiltration, then we will definitely locate those in that general region. The exact locations have not been determined yet, but at this point, we're just trying to find a general, area.
Okay.
It was initially proposed for the area surrounding Lincoln Park Lake. This may mean that we have to move the dry wells a few blocks away from the area, up to half a mile or a mile away.
Okay. I'm just trying to associate the cost, with the dry wells and then the location of them, and if there's going to be other movement in the future once you find a location.
In terms of the cost of the dry wells ultimately depends on the infiltration rates.
Ultimately depends on?
Depends on the infiltration rates.
Yeah.
Depending on how well the soils drain water or not, it can change the number and size of the dry wells. And ultimately, we're trying to reach our goal of to capture a certain amount of water. So the cost at this point for the dry wells is undetermined.
Okay. So I'm gathering for now, this is where we're at today. And we don't know about the specific locations and if those would be the most beneficial for this project in the future.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 9 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Sorry, item number 10. VP Villegas has moved. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Satorsky, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 10 forward and forthwith.
Great. We'll start the vote. President Garcia?
Aye.
Vice President Villegas?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand?
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, for today, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 11. This is in Council District 13 for a contract award to Avon Park Terrace Bulkhead Project. Recommending the board to, 1, approve a separate contract with number for the Avon? That's how you say it? Avon Park Terrace 1431-1461 Bulkhead Project. Approve a construction order for the project to Malden Buttick. Today is just one of those days again. Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $1,070,710 with a not to exceed limit of $1,284,852, including contingency. And 3, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the construction order after approval as to form has been obtained from city attorney. And this morning we have Mr. Smith here on this item. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you, President Garcia. Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. So as President Garcia just said, that this board report is for the award of the Avon Park Terrace project and for the issuance of a new separate contract number for the project. As you know, the Bureau of Engineering administers the emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural contractors list. Excuse me. In order to provide urgent necessity and emergency geotechnical structural construction services for public works projects. Excuse me. On February 25th, 2019, the board approved a list of 9 pre-qualified on-call contractors. The contracts were executed on March 29th, 2019, had a term of 5 years, and they expired on March 28th of 2024. So due to the expiration of the contracts on March 28th, 2024, a separate contract number is requested for this project. So this work is related to the urgent need to restore lateral support to a portion of Avon Park Terrace located in a residential hillside area in Elysian Heights, approximately 1/2 mile south of the intersection of the Golden State Freeway and Riverside Drive. At this location, the southern portion of the street has settled, creating uneven pavement. The stress has encroached to variable widths ranging from 3 to 5 feet and locally up to 8 feet into the roadway. Additionally, the pavement and curb are locally undermined, and a 13-foot section of pavement has collapsed, along with a portion of a metal post and a chain link handrail. Expedited construction of a new bulkhead is needed to stabilize the street, prevent further damages to the road, and remediate a potential safety hazard. The project will construct 250 linear feet of retaining structures to provide support for the roadway. The structures will be approximately 3 to 6 feet in height and will be constructed using a combination of steel piles, precast concrete lagging panels, and cast-in-place concrete retaining walls. In addition, the project includes construction of a new concrete grade beam, concrete pavement, concrete curb, asphalt pavement, installation of metal beam guardrail, and the application of hydroseed for erosion control. On December 18th of 2023, bids for the project were solicited from the contractor on the emergency pre-qualified on-call list. On January 17th of 2024, 4 bids were received at the board, of which Milan Buntich was the low bidder. Milan Buntich's bid in the amount of $1,070,710 was 10.29% above the city engineer's estimate of $970,280. Staff recommends the board executes a construction order and issue a separate contract number for the project with Milan Buntich in the amount of $1,070,710 with a not to exceed limit of $1,284,852, including contingency. A funding for the project in the amount of $795,146.38 is available in the SB1 Road Maintenance Rehabilitation Fund. Additional funding in the amount of $489,705.62 will be available for the project once the City Council approves the fourth construction projects report. So that totals up to $1,284,852. And that concludes my presentation of this board report. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for your thorough report. Any questions, colleagues? Commissioner Reyes.
Just one question. How many more contracts on our pre-qualified list that we have awarded that will be impacted because this pre-qualified on-call list has expired? And what steps are we taking?
This is the last one. We actually had two, so this is the last one. So what happens was if we bid it out on a list, we have to award it through that list. So as you know, we do have new contracts in place. The new contracts were executed and put in place on January 2nd of this year. So all new work is being advertised and awarded through the new on-call contracts, which, as I said, went into effect on January 2nd of this year and they expire in 2029. So this will be the last project that will come to the board requesting a separate contract number.
And we were not able to move this to the new list so that we
The
don't
decision
have
was
to do
made
a new
not to
contract?
delay it, because we didn't know when the new contracts were going to be executed, so we did send it out to bid back in November and received bids on December 18th. So we decided we didn't know how many months we'd have to delay it in order to wait for the new contracts. Since it was their necessity project, we did decide to go ahead and bid it on the contracts that were in place at that time.
So there's no other work pending under this expired contract. This is the only one left. And so
Correct.
we are going, the request is to approve a separate contract.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank
That's all I have.
Thank you. That was my question as well. So good. Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. So this is an interesting one. The bid came in 10% higher than the engineer estimate, but all four bids were relatively close to each other. So what was the issue that they saw or that we kind of missed on our estimate?
I don't know what specifically they were looking at, but we do pay attention as the bids come in. So we use that data. We're always updating our quality, our unit costs for specific items. So as we see bids that are coming in higher, we will adjust that and correct it. So we're hopefully, every once in a while, we just don't know what's going on in the contracting community. And then the majority of the time, I would say that our city engineers estimate are above the bids that come in. But in this case, yeah, they were all higher.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 11 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second? Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 11 forward and forthwith.
Okay, we'll take the vote, beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you for bringing this.
One, have a good day.
You too. Have a good rest of the week.
President Garcia, before we move on to the next item, we have someone raise their hand. I just want to check if they have public comment for one of the upcoming items.
Perfect.
Silva Blackstone, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know if you have a comment on items 13 through 19, which we haven't taken yet, and we'll put you down for which item you're here to speak on.
Yeah, I raised my hand during this item, Silva Blackstone, retired certified arborist, because I heard mention of a hydro seed mix being used in this project. And I would urge the board to take a close look at that hydro seed mix and make sure that
She
it's
can send Google form.
answered.
Thank you. This item has been closed.
Thank you for that. Moving on to item number 12. This is in Council District 14 for a temporary full closure 7th Street Streetscape Improvements Project. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering recommending the board to authorize a temporary full closure of 7th Street from Spring Street to Broadway starting March 30th, 2024 and ending April 26th, 2024. From Broadway to Hill Street starting April 27, 2024 and ending June 7, 2024. And from Hill Street to Olive Street starting June 8th and ending July 19th, 2024 for the construction of the 7th Streetscape Improvements Project. Although there is an amendment to the dates, and I'm going to let George, you do that, and then we'll do the amendment at the end.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds great. Good
Move
morning,
it up.
commissioners.
You can move it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I'm going to hand it off to
Oh,
our
okay.
project manager. So good morning, commissioners. My name is George Huang from the Bureau of Engineering. We're here for the 7th Street Streetscape item. This project's been in construction. We've been on a brief hold over the holidays to kind of prep for the next half of the construction work that we're doing. So we're now ready to begin the next 3 phases. And I'm going to have our project manager, Kayla, to give an update and also talk about the dates as well.
Good morning. My name is Kayla Pigi, and I'm the project manager for the 7th Street Streetscape project. For some background, this project is located in downtown along 7th Street between Figueroa and San Pedro. The project aims to transform 7th Street into a multimodal corridor that includes protected bike lanes, curb ramps, transit islands, bus pads, and many other upgrades. The board approved the award of this construction contract to Los Angeles Engineering, Inc. So far, we have completed construction from San Pedro to Spring, and the current construction will be from Spring Street to Olive Street. Those are 3 blocks, and only 1 block will be closed at a time. For Phase 5, which is Spring Street to Broadway, the closure will start April 6th and end May 3rd. For Phase 6, which is from Broadway to Hill Street, the closure will start May 4th and end June 14th. And Phase 7 from Hill to Olive, the closure will start June 15th and end July 26th. These dates are projections and are subject to minor deviations based on our field implementation. We are requesting full street closures because we anticipate that they will reduce the overall construction duration. Local access to alleyways and buildings will be maintained throughout the construction duration. The council office has concurred with the proposed dates, and the temporary worksite traffic control has been approved for Phase 5. We anticipate that the plans for Phase 6 and 7 will be approved by the time we get to construction on those blocks. As for community outreach, we have sent out an email blast to the community. The contractor has also distributed advanced construction notices and posted signs. And we have been answering any questions from the public that we receive. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your report, Kayla. So just to clarify, you have 3 closures, right?
Yes.
And it's for the 3 phases. So you're never going to close the whole street at the same time, right?
Only 1 block at a time.
Okay, got it. That's a really nice setup. Any questions, colleagues?
I do.
Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. If you can, thank you for your report. Appreciate it. If you could just elaborate a little bit more just on the outreach that will be done for the Phase 5.
The contractor has already distributed flyers for the
Can you
advanced-
speak into the mic?
Yeah, sure.
I thought yeah.
Thank you. The contractor has already distributed flyers for the advance notice for construction. There are also signs posted. We have also sent out an email blast to the community. And whenever we receive phone calls or emails, we will answer any questions that the public has.
Okay. Do you all have like a dedicated number?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have it on hand if you want to say it for the public record?
I don't have it on hand,
Okay.
but it should be on our website, and it was also on the email blast that we
Okay.
sent out.
Website is, arduous.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions?
No.
Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 12 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Commissioner Corson and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 12 forward and forthwith.
Okay, let's begin voting with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Wonderful. All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kayla, and thank you so much, George, for being here this morning. Look forward to completion of this project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to, have a good rest of the week. Moving on to item number 13, this is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation in all council districts, amended and restated joint powers agreement, Los Angeles Area Integrated Waste Management Authority. Recommending the board to, one, approve the amended and restated joint powers agreement, Los Angeles Area Integrated Waste Management Authority, and two, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation and the president or two members of the Board of Public Works to sign the amended and restated joint powers agreement, Los Angeles Area Integrated Waste Management Authority, and the board resolution to be submitted to Cal Recycle. And this morning we have here Mr. Ramirez.
No, Alex Brito, Senior Management Analyst with LA Sanitation and Environment.
Okay, Alex Brito. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Then I have a Jennifer Pinkerton. Is she here too? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Alexander Brito.
Oh, it's no problem.
Okay, Mr.
Um,
Ramirez is the next one. Here we go. Exactly. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, no problem. Alex Brito, Senior Management Analyst with LA Sanitation and Environment. And a little background on this. This particular board report comes on behalf of LARA, the Los Angeles Regional Agency. So the history here is that the LA Regional Agency, it's a special district of 18 cities through Los Angeles County, of which Los Angeles is one of the member cities. Los Angeles also handles the administration of the agency. The cities are in partnership through a joint powers agreement. And I would say that the primary function of LARA as an agency is to collaborate to submit a combined electronic annual report to CalRecycle each year. That report includes elements of AB 939, which is California Integrated Waste Management Act, AB 341, which is mandatory commercial recycling, AB 1826, which covers mandatory commercial organics recycling, and SB 1383, a new edition, which covers short-lived climate pollutants. SB 1383 is a very wide-ranging regulation, and one of its requirements includes a requirement that all regional agencies adopt a SB 1383 specific MOU or update their JPAs to accommodate specifically SB 1383 submission each year on the annual report. So accordingly, we're coming to the board to pass this revised JPA that now includes SB 1383 mentioned to comply with CalRecycle's requirements. Of interest, all 18 LARA cities need to do this same process. So far, 16 of the other cities have completed their approvals. Only Los Angeles and one other city remain so far. There is no actual monetary cost involved in this, as Los Angeles does not pay monetary dues to LARA, as we provide the administration of the agency as an in-kind functionality. So that's what we're here for today, is just approval of the revised JPA and signature on the revised JPA and a resolution accordingly.
Thank you so much. There's 18 cities, including ours, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're listed on the first page of transmittal number 1.
Okay, I don't have any objections with this. Commissioner Reyes?
Just for the public's edification, education, what exactly is the role of the city of LA, or LA Sanitation, representing the city of LA in the JPA arrangement that we have? I know for a fact that we do dedicate some staffing to this. And what other things do we have that we offer under this arrangement?
Right. Yeah. So as part of, since the main functionality of LARA is to provide the annual report to CalRecycle, the staff at LA Sanitation do a major function, which is to coordinate with each of the 17 other cities, as well as staff within LA Sanitation and the other city departments to collaborate this one large report, 18 cities combined each year. We're actually starting the process right now for the 2023 report, which will be due in August. So we do that each year. We have a system that we use to gather the information from all the cities. We follow up with each city asking them questions about the data they've submitted, and then we collaborate, we do editing, we collaborate it together and submit it as a single report to CalRecycle. In addition to that, we also hold quarterly meetings throughout the year. They were online during COVID, but they've now returned to in-person meetings. And that's the primary role of the LARA staff. But yes, we have a couple staff, including myself, where we will work on this and that's why Los Angeles doesn't pay monetary fees to be part of LARA, because our in-kind work functions that way.
Do we also serve as the main contact point with CalRecycle?
Correct. CalRecycle has several representatives, and they will reach out to us should they need anything from should they need anything from LARA. They're also invited to all of our LARA meetings, and oftentimes will show up and interact and advise cities of new developments within CalRecycle.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions, colleagues? Okay, any objections? Hearing none, I think we're all in the same agreement here. We all want to be part of this as well. I don't hear any objections. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 13 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 13 forward and forthwith.
Great. Well, let's take the vote. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. Have a good rest of the week. Moving on to item number 14, this is a request on Bureau of Street Services in Council District 1 for a tree removal 4876 and 4880 North Glenaville Drive, recommending the board to find that this project is categorically exempt under section 15303 class 3, and there is no substantial evidence that proposed project will have significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 2, find that none of the exceptions to the use of the categorical exemption as set forth in sections 15300.2 of state CEQA guidelines apply. 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division located at 1149 South Broadway is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 4, review and approve the request for a fee permit to remove 8 protected trees and shrubs. Tree replacement is required. We do have one in-person public comment, and we have 7 via the Google form. So colleagues, if Mr. Tursky has sent that via your email, so if you want to take a look at that, you are more than welcome to. But we do have one in person. We'll call person now, Dan Zacarias. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Dan Zacharias. I'm here as a consultant for the owner in favor of item 14. It's a proposed development is a single-family home with an attached ADU. And in terms of the building footprint, the location was chosen so that it's close to Glen Albin Drive. And it's a steep site, so it's a terrace designed to work with the existing topography to minimize the excavation and grading work. In terms of fire safety, the trees are all going to be recommended by Urban Forestry. We are removing 1 black walnut. So we have a 4-to-1 replacement of 4 new black walnuts. We're removing 8 toyons. So we have a replacement of 32 toyons. I don't think we have really any flexibility with that. If there is, we would prefer to plant some oak trees, either to mix it up with the black walnuts or in lieu of some of the toyons. But since they're shrubs, I'm not sure if that's a possibility. We will have a bond with Urban Forestry for, I believe it's 3 years for irrigation. There'll be automatic irrigation. There will also be a landscaping firm hired, which will prune it, all of the landscaping. The Mount Washington Homeowners Association, Urban Forestry alerted us that they have some concerns about an existing nesting raptor owl in the area, which is not on our site, but on a nearby site. So the owner has retained a certified biologist, and we're following their recommendations, which are to wait until mid-May to begin construction. So they're going to come back out, the biologist, once again to confirm that all the fledgling small owls have moved on and that tree is no longer an issue. And this tree in question is an Aleppo pine, which is not really in the purview of this meeting here. That's in the jurisdiction of city planning, which has already approved that removal. So we didn't have to go and do the survey, but we wanted to make sure we're doing the right thing and that the neighbors are happy.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez?
Good morning, Honorable Board of Public Works. Brian Ramirez with Streets LA Urban Forestry Division, presenting before you a request for this board to approve a fee permit to remove 8 protected trees and shrubs, which include 1 Southern California black walnut, 3 Mexican elderberry shrubs, and 4 toyon shrubs for the construction of a new single-family dwelling, as explained by the representative here, relative to planning case ZA-202-3942-ZAD-SSP-HCA. So the applicants, Michael and Kelly Manazian, here today are proposing to build a new 2-story single-family dwelling with an attached garage and an attached accessory dwelling unit for a combined living space of 3,971 square feet on a 2 small combined vacant lots of approximately 6,909 square feet. The project site is within the Northeast Los Angeles Community Plan area in the Mount Washington Glassell Park Specific Plan area in Council District 1. The project was previously approved by the Los Angeles Department of City Planning as determined in the planning case referenced previously. There are 14 protected trees and shrubs on site, of which 8 are being recommended for removal to allow for the construction of the proposed project. The property owners acquired the services of tree expert Arsen Margosian to provide an assessment of the property and to assess the project's impact to the protected trees and shrubs, and all the findings were documented within the protected tree report on file with Streets LA. On October 27th, 2022, they submitted this report for urban forestry review, and on October 11th, 2023, a Streets LA arborist inspected the subject location and verified and agreed with the PTR submitted, verifying that 8 protected trees and shrubs would require removal to construct the new single-family dwellings as designed and approved by the Department of City Planning. The 8 protected trees and shrubs proposed for removal are in fair to poor condition and measure approximately 5 to 18 inches in diameter by 10 to 12 feet in height. 1 elderberry, number 884, is in poor condition, and 1 toyon, number 918 shrub, is in fair condition, and those are in the footprint of the proposed driveway. 1 walnut, 880, is in fair condition. 2 elderberry, 881 and 1143 are in fair to poor condition, and 3 toyon, 920, 921, and 924 are in fair condition, and those are directly adjacent to the footprint of the proposed dwellings. All trees and shrubs will require removal to allow for the construction of the proposed single-family dwellings. As for the alternatives and methods explored, or options explored, Streets LA does endeavor to retain protected trees whenever possible, and we only consider removal after we consider all the other alternatives. According to the applicant, the project explored other locations to avoid impacting the protected trees. However, impact was unavoidable for 8 of the 14 native protected trees on site. Due to the proposed location of the footprint of the new single-family home, the location, the size, and the condition of these 8 protected trees and shrubs negates the possibility of preservation or relocation. I do want to point out also that the remaining 6 protected trees and shrubs would be preserved in place throughout construction. So again, 6 of the 14 are being retained in place throughout construction. As for the condition, if this board approves the removal of the trees and shrubs, the applicant shall plant 4 15-gallon or largest available container size Southern California black walnut trees and 32 15-gallon or largest available size container Toyon Heteromelis arbustifolia shrubs on site to replace the removed shrubs. The survival of the tree and shrub replacements shall be guaranteed by bond for a period of 3 years. The tree and shrub removal permit shall be issued by Streets LA upon notification that from the Bureau of Engineering that the bond has been posted, and upon issuance of the protected tree and shrub removal, Streets LA shall be notified a minimum of 10 days prior to the protected tree removals. The applicant's tree expert shall be on site the day of the tree removals to ensure that the appropriate trees are removed. And the applicant, in conjunction with the project's landscape architect or tree expert, shall be responsible to ensure the tree and shrub removal permit, tree and shrub replacement conditions are in compliance. The replacement trees and shrubs shall follow the landscape plan to the fullest extent possible, and Streets LA shall be notified no later than 5 days after the completion of the tree and shrub replacements for the planting, allowing the division to go out and inspect and verify that the trees are in compliance with the permit conditions. Streets LA shall be notified immediately if any permit conditions have been violated or cannot be fulfilled, and failure to comply with this requirement may result in fines or legal actions. Also, as a condition, the applicant shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the city, its agents, officers, or employees from any claim, action, or proceeding against the city or its agents, officers, or employees relating to or to attack, set aside, void, or annul this approval. As for the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, the Department of City Planning prepared and adopted a categorical exemption, case number ENV-2021-3943-CE, for the project, and they determined that the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to the CEQA guidelines, Article 19, Section 15303, Class 3, and there is no substantial evidence that the proposed project, including the tree removals, will have a significant effect on the environment. The Planning Department's notice of exemption was utilized in forming the recommendations of this report and is on file with Streets LA, available to the public upon request. As for the notifications, the First Council District, as well as the Community Forest Advisory Committee, were informed of the tree removal permit request on November 28th, 2023, and the council office was also notified and was to raise any objections, which they did not, and any objections would have been raised here at this public hearing. And the applicant was advised of the recommendations within this report. This concludes my presentation, and I am open to any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thank you for that, Mr. Ramirez. A very thorough report on your end, as well, Mr. Zacarias. I didn't mean to say not yours, but thank you so much for you both being here this morning. Any questions, colleagues? It's Dr. Davis.
So how many protected trees did we get to have removed here?
8 of 14 total.
You mentioned that the city planning department had some involvement in the design of the removal of the trees.
Correct. They approved the project and the project's design.
And in terms of our decision to remove the trees and that the decision that it was okay to remove the trees, what was the fundamental reason was to clear it for the construction of the proposed, is it a multi-family? No, it's a single family.
Single family dwelling with an attached garage and an attached accessory dwelling unit. So,
okay. So, you know, I have raised the issue about how our decisions are made. I think perhaps presenting the proposal to the city planning department is critically important, and that in cases where we've had individual homes who've attempted to be constructed and to remove these protected trees, perhaps their concern was that they did not present their proposal to the city planning department for removal. is probably the issue that we have had in the past as we've listened to these particular cases. Would you say that that would be the case generally? That the difference between our approval in this case and perhaps in other cases where constituents have raised the issue about being able to remove protected trees, that the difference in those two circumstances is presenting the total plan to the city planning department, perhaps?
So there's currently coordination between the planning department and the urban forestry division. Prior to the case being approved, there was some communication on this particular case where the planning department reached out and they inquired about the proposed tree removals and the options to preserve trees, and also the replacement plan being proposed. So as the case was approved by planning, there was coordination with urban forestry relative to the tree issue here.
Dr. Davis. Commissioner Reyes?
Just for my understanding, it's really, the property is zoned for residential. Is that correct? So it is zoned. The zoning administrator has determined that it's buildable.
Accurate.
Is that
That's
correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that the issue is now because there are protected trees there that will prevent the building of this property, right? So they have to remove the trees, but we have a policy of a ratio of 4:1, and therefore those 8 trees will result in 32 trees that will be planted on the lot. Is that correct?
That's correct. The tree is the Southern California black walnut, and the Mexican elderberry and toyon are
the protected
shrubs under the
trees.
ordinance, so they have to be replanted in kind, replanting 4 trees in technical terms, and the remaining shrubs.
Okay, so just the point I'm trying to make is that it is zoned for the residential purpose
You
for
are
that
correct.
lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. I don't see any other commissioner with questions. So let me get this straight. We're removing, according to my numbers here, 4 shrubs, right? 1 black walnut, and what are the 3?
So it's 1 black walnut, and that's again technicality. It's a tree,
Tree,
and we're removing 3 Mexican elderberry shrubs, and an additional 4 toyon shrubs.
So based on our policy, technically, the owner has to replant 4.
4 in kind per tree removed, and 4 shrubs per shrub removed.
So
and they are interchangeable within the code. It specifies so long as it's a shrub replacing a shrub. It could be Mexican.
So the shrub is just replaced by another shrub.
Correct.
Same species, right?
Not necessarily. Urban forestry tries to replace in kind when possible. In this specific case, and I do want to make note, I received some inquiries regarding the species selection. We worked with the project design, and given the site constraints and the projected canopy spread of these shrubs as they grow, the toyon, which is a smaller shrub, were selected to even replace the Mexican elderberry, because their future projected growth would be more adequate for the space that's available, which is a minimum of about 10 feet. We referenced some of the literature and resources that we have on file from California Native Plant Society that provide guidelines on what should be provided to these shrubs. And that's the reason for the shrub selection, while adhering to the municipal code.
Yeah, I wonder why don't we ask them to replace it with another protected species?
So they're all being replaced with protected species. So the only, I guess, change that we made here, and we deviated a bit as a division, has been because we could not feasibly plant replacements for the Mexican elderberry, because again, they have approximate 18 to 20 foot crown spread when they grow. So we opted as a division to recommend the smaller shrub as a replacement, and it satisfies the provisions of the code.
Okay, yeah, I see Ms. Choi agreeing with that. But I think, obviously right now this case is not it, but moving forward, I think I want to explore that if we're removing a protected species, we should replace it with the same protected species. It seems like we're removing, from the environment something that we're protecting, and then we want them to replace it, but we're allowing it to be replaced with any other type of species. Not that I'm saying that's bad, but I just want to say that I think I want to start looking into replacing with the same type of species. It just makes sense. We're removing a protected one. We should be able to replace something like that as well.
That's understood.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely should find room for that. Mr. Zacarias, is that something you can convene to the owner of the property? Oh, good. Oh, good. I didn't know you were here. So you're hearing our conversation, right? I mean, obviously there's a community and there's folks that are not in support of the removal of the one protected tree and 3 Mexican elderberries and 4 shrubs. And I didn't catch the last piece.
Toyon. The Toyon.
Toyon. Okay. You can come forward.
Michael Manazian. I'm one of the property owners. So what I think we want to make clear is that we're complying with replacing a protected shrub with a protected shrub. The recommendation from Urban Forestry was to use all Toyons, also a protected shrub, to replace those Mexican elderberries, specifically because of the size constraints on the property. Candidly, we feel that some in the neighborhood are using a couple of different constraints to try to prevent the development of this property. I understand and we appreciate their concerns, and we've spent 4 years trying to comply with every option and regulation here. On the other side of this issue, and part of the reason where the recommendation of the Toyons came from, was a question of density and survivability of these. So what Mr. Ramirez told us, and what we understand from our certified arborist, is that in order to give the best chance of survivability of all of these new protected trees and shrubs that will be on the site, that the best way forward for our particular property is to replace with all Toyons in this case. And so that was what we had presented as part of this plan. Given the tight constraints, I do think that there would be a concern in this case with trying to maintain the elderberries there. So we would request that you guys consider the initial proposal.
Thank you for that. And I definitely trust the Urban Forestry's position on this, and I agree with that. But I think I'm also looking at the overall policy moving forward. And so in any time that we can replace a protected tree with another protected species or the same species, that's, I think, the option we would want to go in. So we'll talk more and further and see if we can make this an official policy so that we can look at it that way. But I understand the current restrictions that we're under right now. So sorry, sir, I'm going to go back to Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Brian, you said something about 32 trees. Can you tell me what that, I heard 32. I know Commissioner Reyes did too. Just want to make sure that what was that about?
Yeah, the 32 is the total of replacement, including the trees and shrubs. So again, it was 8, 4 to 1. Relative to that 8, it equals that 32 that I mentioned.
Okay, understood. And the black walnut tree will be replaced with another black walnut tree, with 4 black walnut trees?
That's correct. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Any objections, colleagues?
No, I just want to compliment the recommendation you made, President Garcia, as it relates to the replacement of protected trees. And in fact, when that particular request for a replacement tree may not fit specifically in the area where the tree was removed, I think it's not unreasonable to still request the contribution of a replacement tree to be put somewhere else in the environment where it can in fact fit in. So I think, and I want to compliment that recommendation that I agree with. And finally, I'd like to say before I vote in support of this, that I hope that the decision that the department has made to use replacement as the tool for individual development of homes, single-family homes, or even multifamily units for that matter. And I do understand the constituent when he says it appears from his perspective that people are trying to prevent him from constructing this housing. And I don't think he is unique in that feeling for others who are in the same place he's in. But I will conclude to say that I hope that the department will be as considerate for others and their decision-making when they are trying to build these single-family homes throughout the city in various different council districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, for that. And I also reckon the fact that you did say that urban forestry was asked for your recommendation early on the project, correct?
Correct.
And so these protected trees and shrubs went under scrutiny of best ways to keep them. Is that correct? Well, I am assuming, I hope so.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The reason I'm saying that is because I know that sometimes when we get to this point, we are just allowing whether a tree should be removed in order for the design element to go, that's the design that the planning had already approved. However, we have the right to choose the trees here or not, and so that would really kick the planning back. It will kick it back to planning to kind of redesign this if we needed to, right? Our only reservation is at this time if some of these trees are being removed for staging purposes to place something that's not going to be there permanent.
No. So all of them, as per the report, are for elements of that residence and not for things like temporary staging or construction.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm always against that. Okay, any other comments? So hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 14 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Satorsky, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 14 forward and forthwith.
Wonderful. We'll start the roll call beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
Ramirez.
Commissioners.
And thank you so much to those folks here. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day, everyone. Moving on to item number 15, this is a request in Council District 8 from the Bureau of Street Service and the Bureau of Engineering for a task order solicitation number 33 to Tetra Tech, Inc. Recommending the board to, one, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Tetra Tech, Inc. from the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering service consultants list to provide design support services for the 67th Street and West Boulevard civil improvement projects to complete the environmental engineering design, bid and award support, and construction management support as stated in task order number 33 with a budget authority of $794,044, including contingency. And we have Mr. Alexander Calloso.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, welcome.
Thank you. And excuse, I've lost my voice a little, so excuse my
From yesterday to today.
It happens. Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexander Calloso, Supervising Landscape Architect with Bureau of Street Services. I'm here on behalf to discuss the request for Bureau of Street Services to retain a contractor, again, as President Garcia mentioned, Tetra Tech, to implement $749,000 of work on West Boulevard and 67th in Council District 8. The work would include positive improvements for pedestrians, walking, and biking in the neighborhood, sidewalk improvements, 30,000 square feet, driveway improvements, curb and gutter improvements, asphalt, and most importantly, 17 ADA access ramps. Again, the contract is going to be $749,000, and the scope of work is pre-design, environmental documentation, engineering design, and in addition, Tetra Tech would be assisting with community outreach. Tetra Tech was notified via the pre-qualified list that was approved by the board in 2019. We did receive 5 initial responses. However, in interviewing all 5 firms, Tetra Tech's proposal and interview demonstrated that they have a capability to provide the scope of services and have the experienced team members with a history of successful projects in the city. This funding is from the SV1 funding, which is about $22 million in the rail to rail. This project is adjacent to rail on the border of Inglewood and City of LA.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Alexander. Any questions to Mr. Cayozo? I'm not seeing lights on. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 15 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 15 forward and forthwith.
Okay, we'll take the roll call. President Garcia?
Aye.
Vice President Villegas?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan?
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. So have a good rest of the day. Moving on to item number 716. This is a request from the Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council Districts 4 and 10 for a contract acceptance secondary sewer renewal program 809 Pico Boulevard and Hauser Boulevard, recommending the board to 1, accept this contract. 2, assess Tomovic and Associates with a penalty in the amount of $1,500 for the unauthorized subcontractor substitution of one bid listed OBE subcontractor. And 3, instruct the Director of the Office of Accounting to disencumber the recommended city penalty in the amount of $1,500 from the project fund. And we have Ms. McClinchy this morning. Ms. McClinchy, good to see you.
Good morning, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives. Good to see you too. Yes, Linda McClinchy with the Bureau of Contract Administration. As you mentioned, we are recommending a $1,500 penalty for unauthorized subcontractor substitution of one bid listed OBE subcontractor. To be more specific, Hanson Aggregate and Recycled Materials was bid listed by Tomovich to provide crushed rock totaling $15,000. We verified that Hanson did not provide any of the material in relation to this project. Per the bid proposal requirements, Part 3, Section F-2, subcontractors, quote, any reduction, increase, or other change to any subcontract amount without prior approval of the inspector is considered an unauthorized subcontractor substitution and is subject to a penalty of 10% of the subcontract amount, whether bid listed or not, end quote. Staff did inform Tomovich of the potential penalty for this being recommended. Tomovich did not respond to staff to the penalty notification. However, during the investigation, staff did receive a letter that was dated September 22nd, 2017. It was from Hanson to Tomovich, indicating that they were no longer able to provide their originally quoted material. However, staff could not find any record of either approving a reduction in Hanson's subcontract amount or approving a substitution of Hanson. Therefore, we're recommending the penalty of $1,500, which is 10% of the bid listed amount for Hanson. Just as a note, Tomovich, when we were writing this report, did indicate back in August of 2020 that they would attend the board meeting regarding this penalty. Bureau staff from October 2020 began emailing them to try and find a mutually acceptable date so that they could attend. In 2021, they called them a couple of times, left voicemail messages. 2022, they emailed again. None of these times that they reached out to Tomovich did they get any response. So finally, we decided to just go ahead and schedule it for board. March of this year, so last month, we sent them the notification that it had been scheduled along with a copy of the board report. We sent it certified mail, so we know that they received it. The letter also asked them to let us know if they would be attending or who would be attending. We never got a response. So here we are today recommending this penalty of $1,500.
Thank you so much, Ms. McClinchy, for that. Did they know that we were going to be hearing this item today?
No, we did
There was
not-
never-
No, because as I said, on March 12th, we sent them certified mail of the previously scheduled date, asking them to let us know who would attend. We didn't hear from them.
Okay, understood. All right, any questions, colleagues? Hearing none, any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 16 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 16 forward and forthwith.
Okay, we will take the roll call beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsian.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you so much, Ms. McGlinchey. Have a good rest of the day. Colleagues, moving on to item number 17. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Sanitation in Council District 6 for a memorandum of understanding between the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, Sepulveda's Basin Sport Complex Water Recycling Project, recommending the board to 1, approve the execution of the memorandum of understanding between the Department of Public Works and the Bureau of Sanitation and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power for the interdepartmental cooperation and conditional consent as it relates to the LADWP's proposed easement from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that will cross over the sanitation's existing easement located over certain areas of fee-owned property by the USACE, generally described as portions of assessor's parcel number 2251-001-901. 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the LADWP signed MOU between the Bureau of Sanitation and the Department of Water and Power. The MOU has been reviewed and approved as to form by the city attorney. I believe we have a public comment card.
2 public comment cards on item 17.
2 public comment cards on item 17. Sorry, Mr. Jimenez. Give me a second. I have item card with the letter G.
Regarding water recycling, after that ridiculous Peter Thomas incident with DWP, we're still fucking with water, with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Why do we have this criminality of organized padding and greasing your wallets just to take advantage of the taxpayer? Niggers just want to live in peace and enjoy the same fucking bullshit all you have, except some of you pretend you know everything, right?
This is about the sports complex water. Can we stick to the topic?
And the issue here on the water recycling, it hasn't worked. We have too much fucking water right now. You know what's happening with it? Nothing. You're not recycling it. You're not diverting it into wells or locking it into canals so that later on you can channel it to your fucking parks, your fucking stupid gardens and your fucking stupid park right here, Grand Park, to water it. Instead, you're letting it get so saturated in the earth that everything is fucking sinking. All the pollution is sinking into that water and it's becoming contaminated. And that's why we have a dumb fat bitch like that one there speaking
You're not
about
speaking on an
BOS
agenda item.
existing
Please stick to
easement
topic.
located on the certain fat cunt areas owned by the fat bitch who keeps interrupting me as described regarding assessor parcel
Please get on topic or you'll forfeit your time.
901. For the record, 42 USC.
City attorney is starting to say something.
I am on the topic authorizing the fucking president, another 2 members regarding the what? LADWP's signed MOU. The MOU is this. Fuck you. Stop fucking over the public. Stop stealing from the taxpayers. Build what we need. Better, stronger, safer infrastructure. And always listen to Trump! Vote for Trump and fuck your
Thank you. Thank you.
Dumbass a-hole. Thank you.
Second speaker I have with the letter M. Letter M.
Mike Greenspan, I'm back. Yes. Hey, I lived next to Council District 6. At one point, I was actually in until, of course, the census and the redistricting. So some of us are probably more familiar with these areas than people who live here in the basin. It's in the valley. It's an Army Corps of Engineers sports complex we're talking about. It includes Jelty Park, all that Balboa, the golf course, everything else around there. And of course, we bring the water in. Okay. I seem to be stuck on 110. I don't know if I ever got anything to begin with. So let's take it from the top if we can. Or hold on while we.
Did it stop working? What was the minutes he was under?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So this water there's even a reclamation plant out there, the Tillman, which was, if you go back on the history of it, it was something pressured on the Nixon administration to do that. It was questionable, according to my elders who lived in the valley or in the valley before me, whether it was needed. But this was done strictly political. So, of course, now we're doing more politics of water. The water politics are very important. I mean, if you have water, you could be independent of LA, and if not, well, LA always held it over your head. You want our water, you've got to join our city. That's how a lot of the valley became part of the city, is holding the water hostage. And you remember that movie Chinatown? What did Nicholson say? Referring to, I guess, the valley, the land would be worth something if they had a constant water supply. So even in movies, they make reference to the water in the valley, because without that water, it would be just as parched and dry as could be. Nothing would grow there. Maybe even Gila monsters would be moving in, like like the deserts here or in Arizona. We would look a lot like western Arizona in the San Fernando Valley. The water has had farms in the valley before it was development. It was only in 1959 that residential use of water exceeded agricultural water in the San Fernando Valley. Remember that show on TV, The Real McCoys? Well, they had a farm. Where was the farm? The San Fernando Valley. Just to let you know about the importance of water.
Thank you. Mr. Jimenez.
Good morning. Udi Jimenez, Chief Real Estate Officer for the Bureau of Engineering. And this is this MOU is for the benefit of a Department of Water and Power project. The Sepulveda Basin Sports Complex Water Recycling Project. And so the background of this is that the land is owned by the Army Corps, and there's the city Bureau of Sanitation has an easement for 96-inch sewer, and in order to cross both the Army Corps property and the BOS easement, DWP is entering into an MOU with Bureau of Sanitation in order to be able to cross the easement. We have consent from both Bureau of Engineering and the Army Corps for DWP to cross the existing easement. And in the agreement, in the MOU, it stated that DWP has agreed to protect the sewer that's in place, and should anything happen, they're assuming liability. So it's a good agreement, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sounds like a fair agreement. Any money interchange or any
No,
funds?
no money.
Okay, got it. Any questions or comments, colleagues? Hearing none. All right, well, I think we're pretty okay with this one. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 17 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 17 forward and forthwith.
Okay, let's begin the vote. President Garcia?
Aye.
Vice President Villegas?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Corson?
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you so much for that. All right, moving on to item number 18. This is requesting Bureau Engineering in all council districts for task order solicitation for homeless interim housing shelter and housing program. Recommending the board to authorize the establishment of a task order for homeless interim housing and related projects within the shelter and housing program, and authorize the use of the firms selected on a rotating basis. 2, authorize the following task order 100, John Friedman, Alice Kim Architects, C124801, task order 101, Gonzalez Goodell Architects, task order 102, M. Arthur Gensler and Jr. and Associates, Inc., task order 103, Leher Architects, task order 104, Perkins and Will, task order number 5, AC Martin Partners, Inc., task order number 106, Soprano and Mooney Architecture, task order 107, Paul Murdoch Architects. Each task order will be established with a not to exceed amount of $1 million. 3, authorize the city engineer to replace a firm from the list for declining work not performing, and authorize the city engineer to add firms if necessary. And 4, authorize the funds in the account 682-5050 VVHF 682-5050 YVKL and funds from the pending approximately $33 million from the state. And I do have speaker card. I have a card for letter G. The last call. G.
Well, regarding homelessness, you fat cunts, Raymond Chan and Jose Luis Huizar that were developing all this affordable housing for homelessness never worked to your plan, right? Because you fat asses protected these criminals from stealing all the monies allocated to projects to
This
house
is about building a
shelter
homeless shelter.
people
Stick to that
and the
topic.
housing program that authorizes the rotating bases. Like you sit there and rotate on that seat doing shit to spend $33 million from the fucking state. That's how stupid you are to authorize 682-50-50 VVHF, you fat cunts. So if you have an idea of a task order, listen to your dumbass mayor who hasn't done shit right. The first woman mayor that hasn't done shit right like you.
Stick to the
Yeah, I
topic.
am
It's
sticking
homeless
to the
interim.
$33 million that you haven't done shit to provide housing, shelters, luxury apartment, luxury condos, and those 3 fucking art buildings downtown that Huizar left there because the fucking Chinese developer has abandoned them. When you can convert that $33 million into those 3 fucking buildings by Staples Centers and fix this fucking housing crisis for the homeless. Other than that, you're pimps, whores, prostitutes like Peter
This
Thomas,
is a homeless
AWP,
interim housing.
fucking the people over like Jose Huizar, like fucking Englander, like fucking Ridley Thomas, and fucking all the fucking assholes that you provide a service for the public. A pattern and practice of criminal corruption, patting your fat ass, you fat slob,
Stick to the
retard,
topic.
anti-Semitic, idiot, moron, Imbecile, worthless piece of shit.
Next speaker card, M.
Yes, Mike Greenspan. And I'm not going back to Florida. I'm staying here just to be a pain in the ass. Yes, Santa, I have to wear the Santa hat. Ho, ho, ho.
This
We're
is about homeless interim housing shelter. Please stick to the
Yes,
topic.
well, we're talking about 33 million. That's real money. We're not playing Monopoly. It's not Monopoly money. It's real money. And Santa is looking over his nice list because people are getting $1 million contracts here and $1 million contracts there. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. So it's not yet Christmas, but people seem to think there's Christmas every day at City Hall. Doesn't matter if it's the City Council or the Board of Public Works. They hand these things out as if Santa's handing it out.
on an agenda item, please get on topic.
The homeless issue won't go away. We can sugarcoat it. We can do things around it. We can reward contractors. Well, let's go pick the money off the Jewish money trees that are in Council District 3 or 5. And I got the gloves. We seem to think money grows on trees. We don't realize that this 33 million comes from money we don't have. How many times do I have to say to you or the city council that it's money we do not have? If we had the money and if it was spent right, big ifs, then I would say, yay! But I see how it's always being misused. It never goes for what it's intended. It's always there to give to a buddy, a friend, a crony, to give a fat contract, to give them a big fat wad of money. And when you get it together, it'll be nice. But what are you going to do? Get that water out to people in tents that are homeless, because that's where they are.
That's 2 minutes.
Thank you.
And before we close public comment, we have a hand raised on the Zoom.
Okay.
So we'll ask if they have comment for item 18.
Okay, go ahead.
Kenyatta Cole, if you are calling for public comment on item 18. Oh, they're gone. Okay, never mind.
They're not?
They logged
Okay.
off.
Okay. Marina, Ms. Quinones, welcome.
Good morning, President Garcia, Commissioners, Marina Quinones, Bureau of Engineering. This motion is for a task order for homeless interim housing and related projects within the shelter and housing program. It primarily addresses the June 2022 District Court settlement agreement between the city and Alliance. The settlement is a 5-year agreement beginning June 2022 and ends June 2027. Under this, the city will create 12,950 new shelter and housing solutions, basically beds, equitably distributed across the city. To date, 8,455 units have satisfied the intent of the settlement. There are outstanding 4,460 beds that will need to open by June 2027. Due to the urgency of the Alliance settlement, the BOE needs to augment city staff with consultant staff. BOE issued a task order solicitation to the 20 architectural firms on our pre-qualified list. The goal was to identify the most qualified firms for these types of programs, and the criteria was provided, which is listed on your motion language. BOE received 8 proposals. All firms demonstrated the ability to deliver these types of projects. Our goal is to issue a task order number for each one, as read by President Garcia. If a firm cannot conclude a successful negotiation after 2 solicitations or declines to negotiate 2 times, BOE would like the option to replace the firm with someone else from our pre-qualified list. For the established TOSs, the city has set anticipated participation levels for BAP. As you know, our previous program under the shelter and housing program was exempt from BAP. We are putting that requirement back in as we try to diversify work within our consultant firms. So in summary, we're requesting authorization for the establishment of 8 task orders for the homeless interim housing program. on a rotating basis, and that each task order be established with a not to exceed amount of $1 million. We're also requesting that the board authorize the city engineer to replace a firm from the list for declining work or not performing. Funding is available in 2 existing funds and the anticipated $33 million from the state. That concludes my report.
Thank you for that, Ms. Quinones. Any questions, colleagues? Dr. Davis?
Thank you so much for this report. And as I've noted in the motion, it is for interim housing, and that you have 8 projects for which we want to prepare the contractors to construct. Is that correct?
We have 8. We have solicited the 20. 8 who were interested in interim housing work. We actually currently have a list of 41 projects that will be distributed among the 8.
But this particular motion is for 8 of those.
It's to establish the 8, correct?
Correct, that we have, and you have some supplemental motions to come.
Yes.
To
Yes.
to add to the 20.
Correct.
For which you have targeted.
Correct.
So as it relates to this motion and the 8 that you're presenting to us, do we have 8 specific projects already ready to go with an idea of how to assign these contractors to those 8? Is that true?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And we will,
yeah.
go ahead. We will subsequently come with those specific projects and the allocated funding. Right now, we wanted to establish the list so we can get started as far as negotiation.
Good, because I was going to ask you, where were those 8, the first of the 20, situated? But I guess you don't have that information.
No, we do. Some are in CD6, has found some sites, also CD4, and we're looking at other sites in CD9 as well.
So would it be safe to say that our general philosophy about the program is, to the extent possible, distribute these facilities in the areas where we have the most heaviest or the heavier concentration of homeless existence? Is that pretty accurate?
Yes, the settlement is actually very clear about it being equitable. So the mayor's office has met with all council offices, and the goal is to equitably distribute these beds within all council districts, not necessarily the ones with the highest numbers of homelessness.
Well, as we understand and observe our assertiveness on implementing homeless programs, which are critically important given our homeless population, I am wondering about the issue of interim housing, which I know is a part of the formula for us to achieve our goal. So this is interim housing. How does it impact our observation that permanent housing is a goal that we have? How does this interim housing play into that?
So there are conversations within the council districts to keep some of these projects long-term. So we are looking at the possibility of existing building conversions and being permitted as interim housing, but the possibility of using it long-term as supportive housing. So there is a conversation within the mayor's office and council offices, not necessarily BOE, but that is something that I can share with you that is in conversation.
Well, this motion and these particular projects that are the subject of these motions are more immediate in terms of us making a movement towards managing homelessness. So I wanted to know, in your opinion, that the interim housing is the project on the ground that can immediately move an individual from an encampment to some place towards permanent housing. Is that
that's
accurate?
what we have seen. Interim housing right now has codified certain aspects of the code that allow us to build and design faster. And so we are able to house people a lot quicker than having to go through, say, planning, and all the jurisdictions that require those types of long-term projects. And so interim housing is a possible way to house people faster, yes.
Right. Well, I'm very happy to support this motion, and very happy to see that it is the action towards the goals that we've heard about in our community, and the leadership of the mayor's office to really make a difference in terms of housing, that interim housing is a part of moving us forward. And so as you present these 8, I'm happy to support that, and I look forward to the supplemental ones that you will present as we move towards our goal to place those who are in encampments, hopefully into and ultimately into permanent housing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Reyes?
Just one question on the funding. Are we depending on other funds in the future? Have we applied for more? This 33 million, does that account for all the projects that we're envisioning?
So the 33 million will cover the initial 500 beds. That is
Okay.
an agreement between the mayor's office, the city of LA, and the state to receive $33 million to fulfill 500 beds.
Okay.
The remainder will be funded as we go through feasibility reviews with the CAO.
And are there still applications pending for more housing, whether it's from the state or our federal
So the
counterpart?
the state is the only grant that I know we're looking at right now. That would be better answered by the CAO. I could follow up and let you know.
Could you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 18 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis and VP Villegas. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. We are missing Mr. Tursky. She went to, she'll be right back.
How long will this project take, I wonder?
You'll be able, can you count, tabulate our votes?
Well, I don't think I can do
I know. Yeah, she's coming right back. Give us a few seconds, and there she is. Mr. Tursky, we missed you. Yeah. Mr. Tursky, there's a first by by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 18 forward and forthwith.
Great, let's vote. President Garcia?
Aye.
VP Villegas?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan?
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Marina. Thank you for your time. That is the end of our voting items, right, Mr. Tursky? And we both oral reports have been withdrawn from today's agenda. I just want to colleagues to send your attention to Mr. Uri Jimenez as he will close today's meeting on an adjournment of a memorial in memory of Oke Enyoku, Bureau of Engineering personnel. Mr. Uri.
Thank you, President Garcia. So the sad news I'm reporting today is the loss of Oke Enyoku, who passed away recently. And he was an integral part of our group. We're a small group, but we're going to miss him tremendously. And I'd like to say a few words about who he was. And I could go on for a long time. He was a special person. But Oke was first and foremost a family man, and he was also a friend and a dedicated civil servant. Oke and I had similar professional backgrounds before coming to the Bureau of Engineering. We both worked for the same savings and loan institution as appraisers, and later we both owned our appraisal companies. And we would often exchange stories about raising children in this challenging environment. And I know very few people in the Bureau of Engineering or anywhere else who knew and befriended more people than Oke. He was 100% a person, a people person. As he was friendly, he was also very dedicated to his work and would rarely miss work. He was often on the verge of losing vacation time because he was so dedicated to his work. He rarely missed work. Among his other passions was learning and organization. Oke completed his undergraduate studies at Cal Poly Pomona in urban planning and took a master's degree in economics and statistics from Cal State LA. He also took many professional development courses in appraisal and acquisition and right-of-way. He was a great source of advice and information for us. OK traveled far from his native Nigeria, and along the way, he shared his life and his stories with his friends and his family. I will miss OK for his positive attitude and the joy that he had in sharing his life and his stories with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Uri. And with that, we end today's meeting in adjournment to OK Nyuku from the Bureau of Engineering. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.